G'day and welcome to Aussievision. I am joined by the amazing Emma to talk about all things Melodifestivalen. You are a bit of a Melfest expert and fan for years now, Emma, aren't you?
I am indeed. Yes. Yes, I am a fan of the show.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's talk about the show overall. There's been a lot of commentary about Melfest this whole season dropping its game, not being great. But it always feels when you get to the final, like you get the quality songs at that point. What did you think of the show overall?
Absolutely. I thought it was a great show, and the songs that made it to the final, they really pop when they're all up against each other. I think sometimes they don't stand out as much when they're in the heat stages, but when you get all 12 finalists together, you realize what a strong field it is and how lucky Sweden is to have so many acts to possibly choose from to represent them at Eurovision.
Exactly. A week, and I put in inverted commas, a week Melfest is still better than nearly every other national final,
That's
right?
very
And I don't
true.
think it was a week final. Maybe the heats, I do think they have to look at that a little bit, but it happens every year. You kind of go, oh, I'm not sure about this year. And you get to the final, and what a show. Amazing, amazing show. Amazing show. But we had a winner with Marcus and Martinos with Unforgettable. What did you think of this and the winning result?
Look, I think this was the roaring favourite going in, and so I think we got the expected result. They won the jury, they won the televote, took out the whole thing by 73 points
Mm.
from second place. So yeah, I think this is what we expected. We saw that Marcus and Martinez were runners up to Laureen last year, and let's face it, if Laureen wasn't there, they would have represented Sweden last year. I personally prefer their song from last year over Unforgettable, but it's an amazing stage show. It's definitely all about the stage show, I think, with this one. The song itself, for me, it's not one I would sort of choose to listen to as a studio track, but when you put the boys on stage with their dances, the light show, everything, it's almost like you're watching characters in a video game. It's like they're immersed in another dimension almost, and it really pops on the stage, and I think it will look fantastic at Eurovision, and I would expect it to do quite well for Sweden, even though they're the host country.
Yeah, and actually, it's kind of the perfect host entry because you're right. The song is not actually that great. Like I've struggled most of the week to remember. For a song
Mm,
called Unforgettable, I forget it quite a lot, but I don't forget that stage show. And so therefore, you kind of they're probably going to be on for a decent result without any chance of winning because the song's just not strong enough. But that stage, it looks fantastic. And I
mm.
think what I really like about it is because at first it does kind of remind you of Dance You Off, Robert Manxon back in 2018, where they kept it too much like a video. And then what I like about this is that they open it up later and it becomes more of a stage show rather than that in that part there.
That's
So
right.
it just gets you to embrace, you see the audience, so you know it's part of it. So just doing that little thing, I think has made a big difference. But I also don't like when all the people come in the alley, like, when it's tight and all the dancers
Yes.
come in. I hate that bit. Like, they don't need them in there.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I think it will look fantastic at Eurovision. And often we see that the host nation doesn't do so well at Eurovision, but I don't think I'm not expecting it to win, but I don't think this will be at the lower end of the scoreboard either. I think they've got enough fan base.
Yeah.
And obviously they're Norwegians, so they're going to get votes from Norway, you would think, if
Yes.
they make the final. So I think they'll do okay.
They will, I think, definitely for sure. Now let's talk about some of the other results here. Now, Medina, I'm really pleased to see them get second place. I really like Medina. It's very football anthemy. Really brought the kind of crowd to life. I would have loved to be in the crowd during that song, and they've come second place.
Yeah. Medina's one of those songs. You could see how popular it was with the crowd, and I believe it's on the top of the Swedish charts at the moment. I haven't
I
actually
think
checked that, but
it was
from
doing
what
very
I've
well.
heard,
Yeah.
it's very popular, and you could see the crowd were up, singing along, dancing. It's a great party anthem song. I think if it had have gone to Eurovision, I don't think it would have done as well as Marcus and Martinez will do. But look, they put on an entertaining performance, and I think they came second overall, third with the jury, which did surprise me a little bit because it's not your typical jury song. It's more of a
Mm.
public vote song. So I was surprised to see them do so well with the jury. But obviously, enough about the performance appealed that the votes came in for it, and I think that the worthy second place getter.
Yeah, and I think it was really the first couple of jury votes where they were doing like super well. Like, oh, are we
Yeah,
on for something here? And then no, it was quickly destroyed.
that's
um,
right.
Third place was, I would say this is a surprise to me because I thought this song was not anywhere near as strong as their song last year. Smash Into
Mhm.
Pieces, very well in the public vote, and they end up coming third overall. I did not see that happening.
That's yeah, absolutely. I would agree. I didn't like their song this year as much as last year's, and they actually came ninth with the jury, believe it or not,
Mm.
which is a real surprise. And then, but public score came third, and that was enough to put them into third place overall. So obviously they did stand out. They're a rock act. I think they were the only rock act this year. There's always a market for that type of music. Yeah, so but it was a surprise. I wasn't predicting them to finish as highly as they did.
Yeah, because I think there was probably a lot of other ones. You're right. They were capturing the same audience, like that nicely done Swedish pop. Well, this was
Hmm.
something different. And they put on a good live show. I thought this
Hmm.
morning, I was like, oh, that's the first time I've kind of got the entry this year. I was like, yeah, okay, good job. But
Yeah.
yeah, surprise third. Before we won't go through every other one, but Kazy Opa did very well with the jury's fourth overall. Nice
She
work for her.
did. She did. I was actually surprised to see her finish so highly. Nothing wrong with her song. It was very entertaining, happy, really pops on the stage with all the color and the effects
Yeah.
that she uses. And you can just see that she's having a good time. Like, you're going to get a confident performance from Kazy Opa. But yeah, well, I wasn't expecting it to finish as high. And, obviously I don't think it would have done so well if it went to Eurovision. But good on her. I really hope that she actually keeps coming back because she always brings something interesting to the show, and it's great to have somebody who's actually, she was one of the writers of Laureen's Tattoo last year.
Yep.
Also wrote the winning song of the American Song Contest a couple of years
Yes.
ago. So she's in a, she's in a unique little spot there of and I think she also wrote one of the other songs for tonight. I can't remember which one. I've
Was
got
it
blank, but
Jacqueline's
yes,
Effortless?
I was going to say,
Yeah.
I think it was Jacqueline. Yeah, so she
Yeah.
was,
Which is a
she's
cracking song.
heavily involved in the show, and I really hope that she continues to come back because I think she really brings something fresh
I
and
love her.
vibrant to the show.
I
Yeah,
love her.
yeah,
It's just always a happy vibe, and she can
yeah.
write
That's
a
right.
damn song. She can write a
Yeah.
song. Now we won't go through everything else here, but I did feel like we had like the Liamus, Danny, Maria, who all end up with each other in the midfield,
Mm,
and I think in a way they were kind of going for the same audience, all kind of that middle range thing,
yeah,
without kind of really standing out.
yeah. That's right. Maria Serra was my personal favorite. I knew when they put her in the opening slot that it was going to be a difficult battle for her, but I really enjoyed her performance. It's a song that I listened to away from watching the actual Melfest performance of. I think it's a great song. I really hope she comes back. She was the youngest performer in this year's Melfest at 19. She's got a lot to offer, and it was great to see that she's obviously of Ukrainian heritage. It was great to see her speaking Swedish this
Yeah,
year because last year she wasn't able to. So she's really making an effort to sort of fit into the Swedish music scene, and I really hope that she comes back because I think she would be amazing at Eurovision one day. So I think she did a great job.
she's great.
Yeah,
She's really good.
yeah.
I was very, very impressed. I love that. Really tough opening and
Mm.
tough for my boy Danny closing. That was never gonna that was
Yes,
never gonna end well for him. But I thought he did a really good job, even though
he
did he
did.
did he miss some words or something when
I'm
and he
not
was
too
doing so
sure.
and he kept
He
throwing
was
his
playing around with the
microphone
microphone a
and I was
lot.
like, stop doing that. You gotta drop it.
I know, but I kind of got the impression from that he was just having a good time. It was almost like he knew that he wasn't one of the contenders, and he was just thinking, "I'm going to have a great time and put on a good
Yeah.
show for the crowd." So I think he did do a good job, but it was always going to be an uphill battle for him.
And just another couple of talking points. I think Annika did better than I expected. I thought
Yes,
Jacqueline did. I thought she would have done better, and Dossa
yes,
ended up last, which I thought was a
yes.
surprise.
Very surprising to see her finish last. Over, I
Yeah,
think she did come last. Yes,
yeah.
she did. I would say, look, I thought she didn't do a bad job at all. I was reminded. I felt like it may have been trying to copy a bit from Cornelia's performance a couple of years ago with a
Okay.
very raw sort of
Mm,
presentation. I just got left a little bit cold, and she's dancing on top of the piano,
mm.
but she never played the piano.
Yeah.
I sort of felt that there was a bit of an inappropriate use of props. I just was I was just left a little bit cold by the performance,
Mm,
but she didn't do a bad job at all. I mean,
yeah.
she's so experienced. She did do a wonderful job. Obviously, it just didn't hit with the viewers.
Yeah.
The other one, yeah, I'd like to mention Annika because that was a personal favorite of mine. I
Really?
think
Yeah.
it was just it's not easy to make the Melfest final on your first attempt, and I think we
Mm,
only had 3 of the 12 acts tonight were first time Melfest entrants, and I think she did an amazing job, and I really liked the song. It didn't. It sometimes with Melfest, there's a lot of the songs have the same writers behind them, and they can tend to fall into a bit of a generic category sometimes. And I found her song just stood out a little bit. she was one of the co-writers and had a different team of writers. It just stood out to me as being something a little bit different. And I was pleased to see. So she finished in 8th, but I think with the jury she came 5th. So yeah, she only came 9th with the public. But I think for a first attempt, that's a pretty good effort. And I'd love to see her come back as well. It was just something I got a real sense of genuineness about her and her performance. And so I was pleased that she did better than I thought.
Yeah, no, I was surprised by it. It did well. It did well overall. I think even I was worried about the public vote, but it came through, so it was good. And look, I do think Jacqueline. I was. Yeah, I mean, I also just expect her to do a bit better overall, but it kind of, it's a great studio track. I mean, it's not just a great one, it's a brilliant studio track, very commercial, and almost not Melfest. Which maybe went against it in a way, but also I guess also it may not have translated to a big live event. At Melfest, you've really got to stand out. I mean, that big arena, big bombastic songs, and maybe it was just like nice song, but next.
Yes, and I feel like she may have been cancelled out a little bit by the vote from perhaps Maria Sir, similar sort of upbeat female singer. Maybe they cancelled each other out, but I think I perhaps think her heat performance was stronger, but still a great song, and I think that's one that I would listen to again. As a studio track. Yeah, she did a great job.
12 points. I love it.
Yeah.
And just before we finish up, we're going to talk about that interval act. What were they called again? Bjorn something or other?
I forgot what that was.
But it was the boy band thing with Mons and Eric Sade and a whole bunch of others. That was brilliant.
Yes, I really enjoyed that because this year's Belfast hasn't had a lot of. Some years the hosts will do their own musical performances and skits throughout, and this year we haven't seen a lot of that. So it was nice to have Bjorn come on and with his Backstreet Boy crew and as a song 13. And it was great to see a whole lot of Swedish past Melfest and Eurovision performers take part in that. I thought it was a really nice, light-hearted moment that I think the show needed. So I think they did a great job. And it was really enjoyable, of course. Anytime Mons and Eric Sade are on stage, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, they're royalty. And the last thing about royalty as well, Danny from Voyager read out the votes for Australia, which is amazing to see him out there doing it as well. And who did we give? We gave 12 to Marcus.
We gave our 12 points to Marcus and Martinus.
Of course, as everybody did. But it was so good to see him do the votes. It's such a legend.
Yeah, that's right. He did a wonderful job.
All right. Well, thank you, Eva, for another Melodifestivalen season. And I guess we'll do it all again next year.
We will indeed. Yes, but I can look forward to my Sunday morning sleep-ins now.
Yes. All right. Catch you later. See ya.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye, everyone.